Hi, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good. That's really good. So I thought, just so that people can understand what quantum healing hypnosis technique is, I'll just do a little bit of an intro for background, and then I've got a few things that I thought it'd be really useful for us to talk about your experience.
Okay.
Okay.
It might even clarify things for me, so yeah.
So QHHT was a technique that Dolores Cannon, a wonderful lady who worked on it for about 44 years or something like that, definitely over 40 years. She worked on the technique for most of her life, and discovered a way of regressing people through past lives, which might have been one past life or several past lives. And she found that she could take them back to the same life many, many times and find out more and more information. But also, over time, she discovered that she could contact she called it subconscious, but some people call it higher self or spirit guides, or
Heard of that, yeah.
call it. And also through contacting that higher self or subconscious, they were able to carry out healings on the person and to gather extra information about issues they were having in their current life, or to understand why they'd been taken back to particular past lives. And so it was fascinating, and she found she was able to help a lot of people with all sorts of different issues, from anxiety, stress, through to different health conditions and physical conditions as well. So pretty amazing. So I wanted to ask you, how did you hear about QHHT, and how did you become aware of it, and why did you, because you've had it a couple of times, and so what was it that attracted you to it, and how did you hear about it?
It's probably going to sound really strange and sometimes I can't always understand these things, but I've always had this feeling that I've had past lives. I've always believed in reincarnation, not what I would call religious or spiritual in the slightest, or I wasn't, but I've just always had this feeling that there's more, there's got to be more when we go, and there's got to have been something before we arrived. And it was just a chance encounter with a lady I was delivering to in North Yorkshire, and it was something like, oh, if there's a car there, it's a client of mine. The next time I delivered to her, I said, so what is it you do? Hence heard about the QHHT. That was the first time I'd heard it as QHHT. I'd heard of regression, but I'd never really looked into it at sort of any point at all. And I guess it was just, my curiosity was sort of tweaked. I wanted to know, was there more? Had I been here before, there before, or whatever? So just decided to give it a go.
And at that point, did you know about Dolores Cannon? Had you come across her?
No. How did I only heard of Dolores Cannon through the QHHT.
Right.
And since then, I have seen some YouTube videos, and I'm actually reading one of her books at the minute. I had my first QHT session in January 2020, and since then it was mind-blowing, and it's made me even more interested. So I've tried to develop myself and read and just see what it's about. So that's, I only know of Dolores Cannon through the QHHT.
And she's written, I think she's written about 19 books,
I know it's a lot. I wasn't quite sure how many, but yeah.
And actually because I've read quite a few of her books and I can't put them down when I start, but reading over what she's written, and she's gathered the information for her books through all the thousands of people that she worked with, and how on earth she gathered it and put it into chronological order to write a book, I can't begin to imagine.
No.
They're so entertaining. So you've had QHHT twice. What was your intention for each session? Because they were both different, and I know Dolores says that often people only really need one session, and in one session it can sort out most of your problems. How do you feel about that, and what was the different intentions you had for the two sessions?
The first one, I just absolutely did not know what to expect at all. I really hadn't looked into it. I just went what I thought was with a completely open mind. I was just really, really interested to see what was going to. It, like I say, it blew me away. The things I was shown. But for me, it raised more, I'm going to say it raised more questions. It did raise more questions, but I was even more interested.
I think that's it.
And
Speaking.
Yeah. And I didn't, oh, bless you. I didn't, to me, I didn't set an intention as such. So I just, like I say, went with an open mind, got shown all these scenes, and it's now that a year down the line, I know a little bit more about it, and I was trying for the session that we had, I was trying to get some answers to what I was shown in the first session. So yes, it's and I'm even more interested now.
In our session, you got your answers, and then then it raises again. It's like, but now I've got more questions. I find it fascinating how it works.
Absolutely. I think because this time I kind of knew what to expect, I was a lot more relaxed. I think I was a lot more open-minded. And I had trouble verbalizing what I was seeing. And when it was first, when we began, and it was like let's take you back to a time, you're kind of like aware, but you're not aware, if that makes sense. And I'm thinking, no, my mind's blank, there's nothing, and then all of a sudden you just get this. I suppose it could be like a memory. You could describe it as a memory, or a daydream, or an image.
That's a good way of putting it.
But something does come, and then it's like, oh, right. But trying to see it, understand it, and speak it, for some reason, my mouth wouldn't engage with my brain.
You are in control. Even though we call it hypnotherapy, it's not like somebody trying to control you and get you to do random things on a stage.
Yes,
you are in control, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah, yes. Never felt anything other. Completely, just yeah.
And it is a bit like having a dream, and you kind of see it, and then you've got somebody asking you about it who can't see it, and so it's then, without consciously trying, your subconscious is trying to then explain what you can see.
and it's almost as if you want to say, because it's so real, it's almost as if you want to say, why can't you see it? Why can't you see what I'm seeing? But yeah, and it's just, and I think for me, even though I desperately want to know everything, I think I kind of block myself a little bit, and I'm thinking, oh, why am I being shown this? Rather than going with it and just letting it all happen, and I think maybe that's why it doesn't quite come out as
I think that's
eloquently
true for most of us, because our conscious mind is telling our subconscious mind, it's trying to step in front of it and tell us that's not true, you're making it up. And so we have to get our conscious mind out of the way so that our subconscious can come through and tell us what it is that it needs us to know. And it always tells us what it needs us to know. Yes. And it never tells us any more than we can currently cope with, which I also find really interesting when I'm working with different people, to see what comes through. And also for myself, when I had it, it's really interesting. How did you find the interview part? Because when we do a QHHT session, we begin with like an interview and then try and dig down on what it is you want to get out of the session and what you want to know.
That's in both instances, not gonna lie, found it a little bit daunting at first to have to speak about me, because we never do. Although as women we can speak, we never like to really speak about ourselves, and trying to briefly give a rundown to somebody who is pretty much a stranger, I thought it was going to be really difficult, but it wasn't. And I found that it was really interesting from my side, in that what did come out, things that years ago had a massive impact on my life and changed the course of my life. I kind of just, it was quite brief.
Yeah.
As though it didn't matter. It obviously mattered then, but it doesn't matter to me now.
Yeah.
But yes, it was just really easy to talk to you. It was just like we're having this chat now. Yeah. It was just very, very natural. And I think you only asked me to clarify a couple of names once we'd actually finished the interview stage. But yeah, completely natural. It was just really easy.
That's good. What about the regression part? How did you find that? Because to someone who's never had a regression and doesn't really understand what hypnotherapy is, and maybe has only seen it on the stage when people are doing theatrical hypnotherapy.
Yeah. Forget that completely. It's not like what you've seen. And I think there used to be a TV show or something, didn't there, years ago, where people were hypnotized and they'd all laugh at them. It's just nothing like that at all. It's completely, it's kind of like going into a meditation, and I've never really done meditation, but you're in such a calm state, and it's just, can you imagine a flower? Yes, you can imagine a flower. Can you do this? Can you do that? And I think that's, you kind of get that
the creative part of the brain.
Yes. Because the first time I had QHHT, when I was asked to visualize, I think I said, what do you mean visualize? Because obviously you're lying there, your eyes are closed, you're really, really relaxed. And I was thinking, well, I can imagine, but do I need to see? And it was like, no, just imagine a flower. It's like, a flower. And then as you go through, once you let go and imagine, it just comes. But the regression was, like I said, it just felt so natural. The first time I had it done, the scenes I was shown, I was a bit like, oh my gosh, not scared at all, just wow.
It's like watching a movie.
Yes, very much so. And it's like it is. It's like you are watching a TV screen, but obviously it's your eyes.
Yeah.
Whereas this time I knew what to expect, so I was a lot more relaxed. Still had trouble verbalizing what I was seeing, but it just just went with the flow.
Yeah. What do you think you gained from the sessions? What have they made a difference in any way, or have you gained anything from them? I know we didn't do physical healing in your session with me, but anything else?
It reinforced the first session.
Yeah.
It's made me more of a believer. It's almost like I said at the beginning, I'd always had this feeling of having past lives, but couldn't understand it, couldn't explain why. And yet now I've seen these things, I've seen them, and it's only listening back to them and having this second session with you has completely reinforced the first session, and I got some of the answers that I was asking about for the first session. And I'm sorry, I might have my head in the clouds sometimes, or I always say I'm blonde for a reason, but you don't make this up.
No,
it's you can't make up what you're seeing.
and
so it's just
sessions with two different practitioners as well, so it's not like there's one practitioner who was maybe putting ideas in your head or anything.
Exactly, yes. But for all the both practitioners very different, the same outcome, if that makes sense. It's actually really hard for me to say what I've got out of it, because I honestly feel like it's changed my life. I do have more questions. I think I'm just one of those people, I'll always have questions. And I didn't know that Dolores had said that you quite often only need one session. I think maybe that's just if people have a particular trauma, whereas for me, I just want to know what it is. So for me, I'd like to have unlimited sessions and just keep delving into it and understanding, because every time you do that, your understanding's obviously so much greater. So yeah, it's just the start, I think.
Yes, I agree with that. And you're curious about past lives and how your past lives link to your present life, and any issues you're having or experiences you're having, then the QHHT really shows you the links between, and it's amazing. And even like links that are happening in your life now from things in the past, it's so interesting, and I agree. I've got so many questions that I would now like answers to that I hadn't even thought of before.
Yes, yes.
From the healing perspective, I know we didn't do healing in yours. In mine, I had healing. And I think I posted about this. I had a spine problem from car accidents.
Yes.
That's gone. And so from that perspective, yeah, one session was quite enough to heal that. But again, like Dolores was always very clear in saying, like, the session will only give you what you're open to it giving you, and like it'll only give you the information you're ready to cope with, and it'll only give you the healing if you're ready to accept it. And so I see that as well.
Just to add that the sessions kind of in two parts. You do the regression, and then you bring forth the subconscious or the higher self, however you want to clarify that. The first session I had, I didn't really say anything during that second part. And I get so frustrated when I listen to the recording, because that is the opportunity to find out why you were shown those scenes.
Yes.
But because I think I was a bit like, whoa, wow, I couldn't, I was trying to make sense of it because I knew what to expect. With our session, I did get some of those answers. Yeah. And when I listened to it back, it's just, again, it's like, you're not making it up. It's real. That's why you've been shown that, and that's this and that's that. And then you come away after listening to the recording, and it's still, although I can't remember it all clearly, it's still going round and round in my head, trying to put it all in its little place and trying to understand it. And it's just absolutely just, I haven't got the words. It's just phenomenal, really is. It's like, from having those two sessions, I feel like a completely different person to what I was 12 months ago. I'm a lot more understanding. I'm a lot more compassionate. I'm a lot less judgmental of people. And I just think I'm a way better person than I was. So it can only be good.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of it is about your own self-development. And if you are someone who's willing to put in the work on your own self-development, this fits into that process so well.
Yes.
And I forgot to say about, at the end of the session, you get the recording to take away. And Dolores always said that when you have a QHHT session, it opens the portal with your subconscious, which stays open. I think she used to say it's for about 4 days. And so if you listen to that recording over and over again, even after the 4 days, whatever healing and understanding that's coming through that session is reinforced and built upon after that. And that's so quite a lot of people find they're getting more information through. Like you said, you've still got things going around in your mind, and people do get more information through as the time goes on.
And that's so funny you say that, because when I got the recording from you, I just listened to it quickly to make sure that I could hear and everything else. And the minute I heard the first scene, it brought back the memory of my first session, and it was almost exactly the same.
Wow.
And it was just, when my subconscious was asked why was I shown that, it was because that's the beginning. It's where it all started. I didn't get to say that the first time, so completely, like I say, reinforcing what I was shown the first time. And I'd totally forgotten about that until I listened to the recording back for the first time. and then it come. So I'm half expecting the more I listen to it, other memories will come. Memories, it is memories. Because exactly as you say, we're only shown what we need to be shown and what we can cope with. So yeah.
And it's so interesting, like, to have more than one session as well. It's interesting to see what knowledge is like layered.
Yes. Yes.
It's really interesting. So just quickly to finish, would you recommend it to somebody?
Absolutely. Anybody who's even slightly kind of going through life at the moment, going, what's it all about? Is there more? Like, yeah, completely. Give it a try. It will just, I'm going to say, I want to say answer the questions, but I'm trying to put it across from the fact that if you haven't really got questions, you're just a bit like, what's it all about? Because believe you me, you will see another side of it. And if you are even more interested and you have an awareness, absolutely 100% do it, because it will just take you to another level. It will just clear your mind and open your mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly that. It'll answer any questions you've got about life, past lives, people in your life, jobs you've had, jobs you want, any questions. And then if you've got any health issues, there's a way of it accessing that and healing them, or telling you how to heal them yourself, what you need to do. And yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And I remember I was living in China when I discovered it. I heard about Cannon, Googled her, saw her on YouTube, immediately ordered one of her books, read it within a few days, read another. I was like, I need to have this, but couldn't get it in China from anyone who spoke English. And then waited. And I think it was Chinese New Year this year. And I'm like, right, weren't allowed to travel, COVID-19. So I did the course and had the session immediately. I got back to England. And now I am able to do it for other people, and to be able to do it and see how it works and the results that it gets. It's just amazing. It's such a privilege to be able to do it. And I think she's the most phenomenal woman to have discovered it, developed it, and stuck at it. She helped thousands of people, and it is just magical. It's mind-blowing to watch it.
There's a whole awareness thing, and one of my mottos, for want of a better word, is there's no such thing as coincidences. And if you are even slightly open to that, this will open your eyes even more. I was shown a scene in my first QHHT session that didn't make sense whatsoever. As I say, I didn't get any clarification from my higher self why I was shown that scene. However, reading the Dolores Cannon book that I'm doing, it's the first one in this series that she's done called Convoluted Universe. Is it Convoluted Universe? Yeah. And there was a whole section on Atlantis. I'd heard of Atlantis. I'd heard it mentioned. I just got this feeling of, oh my gosh, that's what that scene was about. That's what that scene was about. At the same time, on Facebook, people were popping up left, right, and centre at exactly the same time talking about Atlantis. No such thing as coincidences. I had to read this section of book 2 or 3 times just to get it all to go in my head. So I asked the question this time, was that scene? And I got the answer yes. And it's just like, Oh my gosh, it's just fabulous. But it's that whole coincidence thing.
And what about the book, Sarah? What about the universe book?
Oh, see, again, I can't believe
that we didn't mention that. Let's finish with that.
I know, and it's massive. Yes, and I will keep it brief. One of the scenes in my first session, QHHT session, was me looking at me in an RAF uniform. I have served in the forces. I was in an RAF uniform. I was reading a book. The practitioner said, "Can you read what you were seeing?" And I couldn't speak it. Close the book. I couldn't say what the book was called, but I knew the book was blue and it was embossed in gold writing. Again, through my higher self, I got no clarification as to why I was shown that at all. Nothing was coming out of my mouth, completely frustrated. I have looked at so many books in the last 12 months. Every blue book I've seen, I've picked it up and I'm like, no, it's either been in silver font on the book. It just wasn't the book at all. Completely randomly, by chance, went with the lady who did my first session, and a friend of hers went into a field and played with an EMF detector, went back to his house for a cup of tea after. We were chatting. He gets up from the table, goes away, comes back, hands me a book. And I'm really looking at the book, and it was universal mathematics. Just the whole word mathematics to me is like, oh my God, I don't understand. Really intricate diagrams, charts. So I'm flicking through, looking at the pictures, because it's the only thing that can't make any sense whatsoever. It shut the book, and I just shut the book and looked away, and I immediately looked back and I was like, I just knew it was the book. It was the book from my QHHT session.
It's just no such coincidences.
Exactly. It's just, oh my gosh, just wow. So I have ordered it. I've got 2 books on the go at the minute.
And that one's next.
And that one is, but when I say I need a clear head to read that, I'm going to try and just read it without trying to understand it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Go in, and there's a reason for everything. So there's something in that book you need to know. And even for some reason. Yeah, I still look at the pictures and go, oh my God, I don't know. But I'm thinking about it with my logical brain, with my conscious brain. It's the subconscious that needs it. Yeah, I'm just really going to go through the book, read the words, just try and let it go in, because there is a reason I need that book. I've got that book, and it's thank you for reminding me of that, because I had completely forgotten. It's really good to finish with that. Thank you, Sarah, for giving us me tonight, and hopefully everybody finds that useful. And if anyone's got any questions, I know we were going to go live with this, but it didn't quite work out with the technical. So if anyone has any questions, please post them, and Sarah and I will answer for you. Thank you, Sarah. No problem. Thanks, Zoe. Bye.